When I met Britt, we had so much dialogue on what was most important in our lives. Within the first week, Britt gave me one of Pastor Keith's books and said, if you really want to understand who I am, the family that I'm a part of, the church that I'm a part of, who our pastors are, if you really want to know the DNA of who we are, you need to read this book. And I did. I think I read it in probably 2 or 3 days. And it was something that I'll never forget. It's completely seated in who I am. I knew very quickly, this is the girl. And Britt had the same feelings for me. Had the conversation with Scott and Darlene in January of my intentions. At that point, we'd spend quite a lot of time together, and I got their blessing. I proposed on Valentine's Day, 2014, and got to do it here in the church.
I actually had somebody that said, I know what my love is. You know what? I'm gonna bring him out here. Aaron, go ahead and take it. What'd she say? She said yes! She said yes!
Josh and I talked about having a really large family. I always wanted to be a mom. I think that was God's biggest call on my life is to be a mom. We went to see a fertility specialist, and they told us that we had a 1% chance or something to be able to get pregnant on our own. We had done several IUIs. I even got pregnant once, and then we lost that baby, which was really devastating for me. Then we decided to do IVF. None of them made it. I never imagined that I would have those sorts of issues getting pregnant and just trying to do what I believed that God created me to do. Like, God gave me a womb. A womb is supposed to be full, and I couldn't seem to make that happen. I was actually going to do IVF again. And on the way there, the Holy Spirit actually told me not to go. And so I called Josh and I was like, hey, babe, I know that I'm supposed to be going to my next appointment for this to get this process going, but I'm not supposed to go. I told Josh, I think it's time, we're supposed to adopt. And he goes, okay, let's start pursuing it. I had a really close friend that I actually got my master's with, and she worked for an adoption agency. And I called her up and I said, hey, Josh and I are ready to begin to pursue this. What are our next steps? She called back a couple weeks later and said, something bizarre happened, basically, where we had all these mamas kind of ready to give birth, show up out of the woodworks, and they cleared out our waiting families. And so we actually have to do an orientation way sooner than we planned to. So Josh and I went to the orientation, and the coordinator over there called us and she said, hey, so you're approved. Awesome. And we are going to show you to a waiting mama next Thursday. Like, that's rare. That doesn't happen anyways. So from the day that we were approved, we were told that we were going to be shown to a mama. And then when she showed us to the mom, and she said, I don't want to meet anybody else. This is my family. And I want you to know, as you're listening, like, this is really rare. This is not what it normally looks like. The third week after that, our daughter was born. When I think about the way ELC even fits into this story is when Josh and I decided that we were going to adopt and begin this process, I had another friend. She was like, I'm creating a GoFundMe for you, because she had done IVF in this house and all the money was provided for her to be able to do IVF. So she was like, I'm creating a GoFundMe for you because if God can do it for me, he'll do it for you. And every dollar that we needed for Talia to be able to come be a part of our home was provided. Every single dollar. And I think what a picture of the power of community. Like, I had so many people that just wanted to see us win. People just wanted to see us win. Even at that time had been praying for us to have a baby. Then I think about, like, this nugget that's in my belly right now, that we have prayed for 9 years that God would open my womb. I can look back and go, if the baby that I lost had come to fruition, Talia wouldn't be in our home. And so it's like those things that you go, I don't know God's plan for all of that, but I see this and I feel like whenever I think about it, which is multiple times a day, like I'm a walking, carrying miracle. Today at church, I had 3 people come up and just go, like, we've prayed for this for years. This is a miracle. And it's so interesting. It's amazing because this little boy that I'm carrying is a miracle for so many other people, that they're seeing something that they've prayed with and agreed with Josh and I in for years come to fruition. Miracle. The importance of having roots in a place that really does talk about hope, that talks about trusting God, while having people stand in the gap, believing for me, while I'm working on staying in the lane of the answer was no, that didn't work, and there's still promise for me. And just, I think so much the power of community and people that love us was just so huge in that.
I've been exposed to how life can be, what marriage can look like, that you can be married. And Britt and I talked about this because Scott and Darlene are this way, but like we desire to be grossly in love with each other. And so I have a great desire to take what they've built in our own marriage and how we do business and how we raise our kids and how we do our finances. And we've been given something so wonderful that very few will ever get to experience. I feel chosen, but that I've been placed into a family in a spot that was made for me. But who I am as an individual fits in and meshes really well with who the family is. And to be able to run in the draft of somebody who is a father figure in my life has put great significance for who Scott is in my life. He's sown seed that I'll never see or never understand for decades. And as his children, and even more so his grandchildren, is we're going to get to reap the fruit of the work that he's put in, the decisions he's put in, the sacrifices that Scott and Darlene have made that no one will ever know, that maybe we won't even ever know, that we'll be the beneficiaries of that. And I'm already seeing that in my life already.